Hi, I'm Matt, and this is my first video GuildBall review. We're going to spend today focusing on the Union team, which I have currently got all the models. So the Union are quite unique in the game, in the fact that each player can play for a variety of teams, not just the Union themselves. The only exceptions to that is the Union captains and the mascots, which are just Union players. We're going to have a little look at the models, have some close-ups, how great the sculpts are, because they have some of the coolest models available at the moment. So they're not painted or finished yet. We're going to spend a bit of time getting them ready, and we're going to have some close-ups of them once they've been painted in the future update. From this, we're going to hope to go on and do some battle reports, or some game reports, and we're just going to look how they work on their own and when we mix them in with other teams as well. So I'm looking forward to mixing a few of these guys in with my fisherman team and getting them on the field, because at the moment I'm more of a purist and I haven't really looked at the Union players available for the fishermen until now, until we got hold of the models. So I'll stop blathering and we will go into some close-ups and talk about some of the models, how the models were to build, some of their rules, and what they bring to the game. So we'll start by taking a look at the contents of the Union starter box. I believe this is the second starter box they released for the Union, because the original one came with Blackheart and Avarice and Greed, but they seem to have changed it since then. So it has the three models like most of the other starter boxes. The models are currently based temporarily with some blue tech, so I'd like to just point that out. This is not how I use my models in game, just until I get them up and painted and based properly. So the first model we have is Blackheart here. He's the Season 1 captain for the Union. He's pretty solid. He's got a 2-inch melee zone, move of 5 and a run of 7. 6 in the tackle. His kick is 3 at 6 inches, which is average. Defense of 3+, which is a little bit below average. He's got an armour of 2, which is great, and his influence is 4/6, so he brings a lot of influence to the game. He's got a pretty solid play chart. He can dish out quite a bit of damage at his upper levels of hits, and he's got a couple of abilities. Misdirection, which you can force an enemy model to lose some influence, which is very helpful, especially if they've got something lined up. And he's got his commanding aura, which gives him a little bit of a boost. Yeah, a little bit of a boost against enemy models that are close to him. He's also got Shadow Light, which gives him a 2-inch dodge at the start of his activation, useful for getting in and out of combats. And his legendary play is an 8-inch pulse, which gives +1 defense or a 2-inch dodge to all friendly models within the pulse. So overall, very solid captain, more of a supporty one, and a bit of a damage dealer rather than sort of a goal scorer. But he works well. He says his position central midfield, and I can see why he would be useful in that position. The other two models in the start set, we have Gutter. She's quite fast. She's got a 6-inch/8-inch move and a 2-inch melee zone. Her kick is also 3 6 inches. Tackle's 5, defense is 4+, armor's 1, and influence is 2/4. Not much of a playbook for Gutter. She can do a bit of damage, which is momentous, and she has a couple of abilities. Chain Grab, which she can pull models towards her, and Scything Blow, which is quite a powerful attack because everyone within 2 inches of her takes 3 damage. She also heals herself, so whenever she does damage she recovers 1 HP, and she also gives the -1 armour on any attack against her. She can also play for Brewers, Butchers, Engineers and Fishermen, so she can play for quite a few other teams as well. Decimate's our last character. Again, another very fast character. 6 to 9-inch move, 6 dice on the tackle, which is very good for a sort of a normal player. 3 dice 6-inch kick, which again seems to be pretty standard for the Union team. He's got a 4+ defense, 1 armor, and a 2/4 influence again. So for a starter box, there's quite a bit of influence being thrown around. Decimate, he's got a lot of pushes and can deal out a lot of damage. He's got Second Wind, which target friendly model may make a jog at the end of its activation. And he also has his special ability, sort of 1,000 cuts, which target enemy model suffers -2 defense and 1 damage. So he can really set them up for attacks from other players. So and he also causes -1 armor on all of his attacks as well. He can play for the Alchemists, the Butchers, the Engineers, and the Masons as well. So 3 models from the start set, very flexible. Obviously, apart from Blackheart, the other 2 models can be used in a lot of other teams. So a nice little set to pick up, even if you're not so keen on playing the Union. The Blackheart model is absolutely lovely. It's probably my favourite model out of the set. It's actually one of the only non-Kickstarter exclusive captains that I prefer the non-Kickstarter model to the actual Kickstarter model. I think the pose is cooler on this one. The Kickstarter model pose was more like the card. It's cool, well you can see I think the attacking pose suits the model more. Gut is one of the players I've been keen to try out with my Fisherman team, see if I can dish out a bit more damage. And Decimate is also a really cool model as well. I love the fencing sort of rapiers and the cool look of the model overall. So hopefully you can pick up the details. I'll have hopefully some more close-up shots mixed in with me talking over the top. So we'll move on to a couple of the other players. So the next 3 models we have are Coin, who is the mascot for the Union, Season 1. Coin is a lovely snake model. I think the detail really shows out with the scales and the fact that it's recently eaten something. I believe it's a treasure chest, hopefully not another player. So Coin is quite a defensive mascot, decent movement of 5 and 7 at the run. Tackle's only 2, but it can hamstring opponents, which reduces their movement. Also, it can give out an influence to a friendly non-captain model within 4 inches, and also lets a model use bonus time without spending any momentum. It also can follow up, which any model moving out of its melee zone, it can follow with a 5-inch move at the end of its turn. Avarice and Greed is one of the larger models, again, Season 1 of the Union. It's a really cool model. Definitely one of my favourites. He can play for any guild in the game. I assume that's going to mean the Hunters Guild when it comes out as well. But at the moment, he has core features, basically 2 models in one. So this is Greed, this is Avarice. And Greed, as you might see, is currently on Avarice's stomach. So the cool thing about this model is it's magnetised, and it comes magnetised, and you can just pop him off when you want him to jump down in game. And it comes another little fake backpack piece that goes in badly when I can't see what I'm doing. Well, you get the idea. It goes in. And he comes down, and in game he can then do stuff. He's not great, but he's certainly has a change because he doesn't count as one of your models on the team. So you can basically get an extra player on the team, even though he has 4 health. So Avarice is, as a big guy, is reasonably slow. He's got a 4-inch move, 7-inch run. He's got a big hit. He hits for 6 with 6 dice. His kick's pretty poor, only 1 dice for his kick. His defense is 3+. He has no armor, and he only brings 1 influence to the game. But he can dish out a fair bit of damage, and he can push people around a lot and knock them down. He also has tough hide, so he's quite tough to bring down himself. Greed, again, he's 4 health, but he can poison people. He's got his dodge ability, which is actually a 4-inch dodge, which is great. Again, he's pretty slow, but he does have a really good kick, although it's a really short range. So he's got 4 dice for his kick, but it's only a 4-inch range. But if he can jump down with the ball and just go for it. He also helps people in defence. Oh no, he gives Avarice a defense bonus of +1. So that's good as well. The other thing, he can take 3 damage to gain +3 tackle, giving him 8 tackle dice, so 12 on the charge, but that would only leave him with 1 health left. So you would have to be pretty careful about when you're using that. So that's those 3. Yeah, definitely going to be looking at using Avarice and Greed in a game at some point, just to show off the mechanics, really, and the model, because the model's really cool. It was one of my favourite to put together as well, with the magnets. A little bit of work had to be done on the inside where the backpack goes, as it didn't quite fit. But overall, very easy models to build. Coin is a one-piece model as well. But the GuildBall guys have done a fantastic job with the sculpts on these, on all of them. Only had one issue, which we'll bring up in a moment, but they are resolving that as we speak. The next 2 characters we have are Mist and Snakeskin. So both these characters are quite quick. They've both got a 6-inch move and an 8-inch run. They then act quite differently. So Snakeskin has 5 tackle, 3 dice 6-inch kick, defense of 4, no armor, and 2 influence. Mist has a 4 tackle. Kick is 3, but it's an 8-inch range, so she's the only one. She or he, actually. I'm not really sure which. Defense of 5+ as well, so harder to hit, and no armor, 2 influence, and a 2-inch melee zone. Snakeskin's only got a 1-inch melee zone. Snakeskin can play for the Alchemist, the Fisherman, and the Masons, and Mist can play for the Alchemist, the Masons, and the Morticians. So quite similar. Snakeskin poisons people and can charm males, which means she's far better at fighting males. Mist is very good at dodging stuff by the looks of it, because they have a 4-inch dodge. Doesn't deal any damage, Mist, or he can deal 1 damage, but he's more useful for dodging away and scoring goals. So I think he's the only striker that the Union have currently, at least the out-and-out striker. So you want to keep him out of the way, dodge away, use his abilities, and score your goals with Mist. Snakeskin, again, it's more of a supporting damagey character. Quite quick, and has a couple of dodge abilities. But mainly, you want to be darting in and causing a little bit of damage, because she can do 3 damage on the maximum. But the poison ability is quite useful for dishing out a bit more damage as well. You may notice they're on quite a bit of blue tack on their bases. That is because they have a very, very narrow foot, and the metal they were attached to came off while I was building them. So they're going to have to be pinned onto their bases once I've done the bases. So at the moment, just to show them off, I've propped them up on some blue tack. But again, lovely models, no problems building them at all. The only thing I would say is with Snakeskin, I had an extra dagger sheath with a dagger in it that I have no idea where it goes on the model. So if anyone wants to put a comment below or send me a message saying it should go here, you idiot, that would be much appreciated. But again, beautiful models. Snakeskin, I'm definitely going to give a go as well, because I really want to try using these extra models that can go with my Fisherman, just to give myself some more tactical opportunities. Mist, I will see if one of my friends would like to use with their teams, or if they would like to play as the Union, and show them off, really. So yeah, that's those 2, and we'll move on to the next ones. So here we have Fangtooth, another big guy. We have Hemlock, who's very much a supporting character, and we have Rage, who's very much just get in there and do some damage kind of guy. Fangtooth, we'll start with him. He can play for the Brewers, the Fishermen, and the Morticians. He smells really bad, so any model trying to move past him gets slowed down. And he also ignores the first attack that hits him every turn. And he has a heroic play, which all friendly models near him take 5 damage, but he gains +2 move and +1 damage to any character plays that cause damage. So it's pretty good as long as you've got no one nearby. He causes bleed, or can cause bleed, I should say, with his attacks, and he can dish out a hell of a lot of damage. He's got a 4 damage roll. He's pretty slow. He's only got a 4-inch move for a 6-inch run and a 1-inch melee zone, but he's got a whopping 29 hit points, which actually is something I've not touched on the other models, because they've all been fairly standard, but I don't know of any other model that has more hit points than him, but I don't have every team, so at the moment has the most hit points of anyone I know. But a lovely chunky model. It's a one-piece model actually, and he's got some great detail on him. Very evil looking, sort of. Depends how you paint him, I suppose. Paint a happy face on his mask, I think, just so the other teams might like him a bit more. But he generally does look the part of the sort of the tanky character who sit at the back of your lines and defend. Hemlock is sort of like a witch doctor. She's got a 6-inch move, 8-inch run. She's got 3 tackle. Her kicks average again at 3-6 inches. Defense is 5+, influence 2. Her character plays are basically nothing, but she does have 3 support abilities. Blind, which enemy model suffers -2 tackle, -2 kick, -2 move. And smelling salts for any models recover 2 HP. And that's an AoE effect, so you can hit more than one person. And Noxious Blast, which all models hit, suffer 2 damage and the poison condition. So she's very support-like, and she can play for the Alchemists, the Brewers, the Fishermen, and the Hunters. So again, another player I can abuse for my Fishermen, just to give me some more options. And she can also remove any conditions currently on it with her Magical Brew. So Hemlock there, again, another interesting model worth trying out, but very fragile. She can't take a lot of hits. Compared to Fangtooth, who has 29 health, she's only got 10. Rage is an interesting one because he can again dish out a hell of a lot of damage for not very many hits. He only has 1 influence and can only be assigned 1 influence, so he's very limited to what you can do on your turn, but he can charge for free, which is amazing if you get him up close and in the mix. I think he's going to scare a lot of people if he's in combat. A great addition to the Butcher's team, who already dish out a lot of damage. But he can also play for the Brewers to give them a bit more hitting power, the Engineers and the Morticians. I don't really know a lot about the Engineers or the Morticians, so I couldn't really comment on those, what he would bring to those. But my friend plays the Brewers, and he's a very defensive player, so Rage would definitely give him a bit more hitting power from what I can tell. He also cannot be affected by other friendly plays or character traits, so he is literally just going to go off on his own and do his own thing, and you just sort of leave him to it, I suppose. But he can make people bleed, and any model, if this model damages an enemy model with an attack, he gets a free attack. So he can charge for free, make an attack, then make another free attack if that hits, then spend his 1 influence on another attack, and then if that hits, he can then get another free attack. So he can basically do 4 attacks a turn, if I'm reading that right. So definitely some of the weaker models could probably be one-shot by him with some good rolling. So it's a scary amount of damage that he can dish out, and he gets a lot of momentum points for it as well. Again, the model's Rage is an awesome looking model. He's just got that come at me look. And Hemlock is a very detailed model. There's a lot of fine details to pick out on her, with a sort of witch doctor-y style, which should look good once that's painted up. And Fangtooth, like I said, he's just that big chunky guy. A lot of detail on the model though, and again, should be a pleasure to paint up. Right, so the last 2 models that we have for the Union, except one, are the Season 2 additions to the team. So far, they have 2. One of them is Veteran Rage, so we just looked at normal Rage. This is the Season 2 version of Rage. I believe all the teams are getting a veteran player. Might be wrong about that. But this is basically Rage. He's had a season or maybe more than one season in the league, and he's been promoted. He's now the captain of the Union team. And this is Harry the Hat Hallahan. who is another sort of biggish guy, although he's on a small base. So new Rage is much harder hitting and brings more influence to the team. So he's got tackle 7 and he brings 3 influence with a maximum of 4. So better on both accounts than the original Rage. He's the same speed. He's got a 5-inch move and a 7-inch run. His kick is the same. It's 2 dice at 6 inches, and he's got a melee zone of 1, which is the same as before as well. However, this is where he sort of changes over. He still deals out a horrendous amount of damage for a lot of momentum points. He can give friendly models a free attack without spending any influence. He can let a friendly model make a 2-inch dodge, and he can also make opponents lose influence. He still gets his free charge, and he loses the ability to make free attacks when he does an attack against an enemy model, but he does gain +1 attack when making an attack against any other Union models. So if any other Union players are playing for your opponent's team, he can hit them harder. And also, he then the first time this model is damaged by an enemy model, each turn the friendly team gains 2 momentum points. So you have to be really careful. Your opponent has to be really careful about choosing to attack him, especially if you have possession of the ball, because you could end up scoring very early on if they make the wrong attack. He's got a new legendary play, which basically gives every friendly model his heroic play, which is Bloody Coin, which is when making an attack against an enemy model that is engaged by one or more friendly guild models, this model gains +1 tackle and +1 damage to playbook results. So really powers up his team. So Rage does become an awful lot better in his new veteran format, in my opinion, although possibly does less damage overall, at least in sort of one turn. Harry the Hat, he has move of 5, run of 7, 4 tackle dice, kicks 2 with a range of 6, defense of 3+, armor 1, and influence only 1, but he can have up to 4. He's very tanky. He's got goad, so while this model is on the pitch, the target enemy model can only advance directly towards this player. And Molotov, so target enemy model suffers the burning condition, so he can set people on fire. He can play for the Alchemists, the Brewers, the Butchers, and the Engineers. He's also crazy, same as Greed, so he can take 3 damage to gain +3 tackle for the turn, and he has Rising Anger as well, so the first time this model is damaged by an enemy model each turn, the friendly team gains 2 momentum points. And his hat is Inspiring, so while this any model within 3 inches gains +1 tackle. So again, both of those characters used together, you're going to gain a lot of momentum points, especially if you get them in the mix, and they also help buff all the other characters. Point about Rage is now he's the captain of the team, he can't be used for any other teams in this form, so he's only a Union player if you want to use him as a veteran. Any of the other teams that can use him have to use the normal Rage model. But Harry the Hat, he can be used for other teams as well. So again, I love the sculpts. The veteran Rage model was a 1-piece model, and the Harry the Hat was a 2-piece. You just had to glue his big wrench on there. The character in the models is just fantastic. They really, every model I've seen of GuildBall, they've got that individual flair for each one that you just don't get with a lot of models these days. So even though the static poses aren't always the most interesting, you still get an absolutely fantastic feel for how that character is feeling right now. Rage genuinely looks like he wants to murder someone. So we'll move on to the last model, but there's a reason I left it for last, so we'll show you that one. Right, so the reason I left this one to last is it's the first and only GuildBall model so far where I've had any problems with the casting. And basically, her right arm here is either too short or I'm missing a piece. I think it's just the mould has been cut off or it's sort of disappeared somewhere in the casting process. Basically, this axe has nowhere to attach to. However, I spoke to the GuildBall guys and they are sending me out a replacement, just like that, on its way, no hassle. Sent them a photo of the problem and
they were on it like a shot. So sort of as soon as the bank holiday was out of the way, they got one in the post for me, so that should be here soon. So when we come back and have a look at these guys all painted up, she'll be caught up. So it's a shame actually, because this is one of the models I was most looking forward to as well. But it does happen, and with the customer service that I've had, I'd have no problems, you know, having one problem out of about 30 miniatures that I have had from them so far, if not more. Minx in game, she has Furious Charge as well, so she can charge without spending any influence, and when she declares a charge against a damaged enemy model, she gains an extra 2-inch move, so that's 11 inches on her charge if she's charging against someone that's already damaged. She also has follow-up, so she can follow people trying to run away from her. She can play for the Butchers, the Hunters, the Masons, and the Morticians. So again, a good range of teams that she can play for, unfortunately not Fishermen. She's very quick normally. She's got a 7-inch move and a 9-inch run, 5 tackle. She's got a kick of 2, which is, you know, a bit poor, but she's not a striker. She's got a 4+ defense, very average. She's got armor 1 and an influence is 2/2. So she can't have too much influence assigned to her. But she can mark targets, which means anyone making a charge model against the target enemy model gains +2 to their move as well. And she has a Screeching Banshee ability, which target enemy model suffers -4 move and at 2 damage. So again, that is pretty good. So she just screams in their face and they take damage and struggle to move afterwards. Bit soft, she's only got 12 hit points, but again, she's more of a hit and run kind of character. She can cause a fair bit of damage and she can push people around with her 5 hits. And yeah, so I can't wait to actually get the model sort of completed. Obviously not this one. I will try and do something with the parts on this one, but at the moment she is just going to sit around and wait for the actual correct one to turn up. But I thought I would show off the excellent sculpting on the rest of her, if not for her one little arm that had the problem. So that's all the models looked at individually. Okay, so we've gone through the players as individuals. I'm hoping to get a few more close-ups involved as well, to show off the sculpts, because they really are fantastic, and I cannot say how lovely all of the GuildBall models are. The quality, you just don't see it until you have them sort of in your hand, and especially painted up, and by some people, not me personally, but some people can do a fantastic job with these models. All you have to do is sort of look around at the models available. One other thing I will mention is that these are all the metal sculpts, and I think almost all of the models are available in resin as well. If you can get a hold of the resin, if you want to pay a bit more, I would 100% say do it, because the resin sculpts look fantastic. I don't have any of the resin union to show you, but we do have some of the resin masons, so I'll just show those off as well. That's actually from a friend's team. He's just lent them to me just to do a quick comparison of the detail that you see in the resin. That you see it on the metal ones and you think wow, and you see it on the resin and think oh my god, it's that much better. So I would definitely suggest, if you can, pay a little bit more and get the resin models, but you don't get the things like the starter sets from the resin. So you do end up paying out a little bit more, but it's worth it. It really is worth it. We will get these guys built, or I should say painted and based properly, and then we will get them in a few games in the future for some future videos that we're planning. So my Fisherman team, which again I'll show in a minute, will be on the table against all comers. I have a Brewers team to play, I have a Morticians team to play, have a Union team to play against, but hopefully we'll get the Union mixed in with our players as well, and I'll get away from my purist attitude and start introducing some Union players into my team. Fisherman team. I'm really proud of them. They were painted by Kraken Miniature Painting, based down in Devon. He's a friend of mine. So he's done a fantastic job on all of them. I'm really proud to have them as my team, and I'm going to be sending him my new Corsair model that I got for Season 2, and any other Season 2 fishermen that come out between now and then. So look forward to seeing them on the table in some game reports soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give us a like below if you do, and look out for future videos featuring me and my idiot friends. Thank you very much.